Another amazing theory for John Cena's final opponent is going around. We'll also check out several topics for Roman Reigns, the Bloodline, and more. Starting things off with some updates for Roman Reigns. It was reported by WrestleVotes that Roman Reigns will be returning to WWE this summer with a brand new nickname. Roman will allegedly be referred to as the OTC1 and Tribal Chief 1 upon his return. And the initial fan reception to this new nickname for Roman Reigns seems very negative. Fans were saying that the name change seems pretty unnecessary and weird. Of course, in 2020, they struck gold with the Tribal Chief and the Head of the Table nicknames, absolute gold, and outshined the previous nicknames Roman had by far. And then coming off the WrestleMania 40 loss, and Solo forcefully taking control of the family. WWE adjusted his nickname to Original Tribal Chief, OTC for short, and once again it was gold. OTC was catchy, fans adapted to it quick, and it's easy for them to chant as well, so that was an amazing change there. And then after the story with Solo was complete, WWE actually dropped OTC and instead tried pushing Your Tribal Chief, YTC, but that one flopped and wasn't as catchy as OTC. So they reverted back to OTC, and now with this 2025 return, they probably figure that Roman has been out of action since April, so they want to bring him back with a slightly new presentation, but it looks like the ideas were running a bit dry, so all they did was add the number 1 to OTC, and fans are not digging it. Everyone is saying that the number 1 throws the nickname off, feels weird, and quite frankly, doesn't make sense. Roman already won the family back from Solo in January, so all these adjustments about being the first tribal chief isn't really needed anymore. So fans can't figure the reason behind OTC1 and how awkward of a nickname it is. It makes it sound like there's more than one original tribal chief, and that doesn't make sense. Some fans were even saying that this new nickname sounds like it's a Star Wars robot character. So fans are slandering this new nickname right now, and understandably so. Maybe we have to wait until Roman's return program to properly unfold to maybe get a better understanding of the nickname, because as of this moment, it doesn't make much sense. Roman Reigns was also in the headlines for some comments made by Rikishi recently on his podcast. Rikishi said that he can see Roman returning to align himself with Jimmy J and Jacob to take on Solo's MFT faction, which honestly does seem like a possibility, because look at Seth versus Punk. Right when you think a feud is completed, they find a way to dig it back up and extend it. So everyone is thinking Roman versus Solo is done, but with their recent tendency to revive old feuds, Roman reigniting his issues with Solo is honestly a possibility at this point. Can't rule it out at all, but Rikishi also spoke about how this remixed version of the OG bloodline would need a new Wiseman, and he offered to fill that role himself. Rikishi said, "There's been lots of fans asking about him taking that Wiseman spot for a long time, and how he would be more than happy to make that theory come true and be the new Wiseman." Rikishi as the new Wiseman has been a long-time popular theory. So popular that Rikishi is even acknowledging the theory again and saying that he would be completely down to give those fans what they've been asking for and return to television to join this latest battle in the Bloodline Civil War. So definitely lots to watch out for here in the near future. For Roman Reigns, will this OTC1 nickname stick and catch on, or will it quietly disappear? Sort of like YTC did. And if Roman does join back up in the battle amongst the Bloodline, is a new Wiseman really coming along for the ride as well? Ever since John Cena's farewell tour was announced, a big topic of conversation fans were having was trying to figure out who will be the final opponent. Like, sure, John Cena is going to have a handful of matches throughout 2025, but what will be that final feud, that final ever opponent that stands in the ring across from John Cena in December 2025? It's a topic that fans have been obsessed with pretty much since this was all announced in summer of 2024. Well, that final match for John Cena is quickly approaching, just a handful of months away, and fans are still buzzing with the different possibilities. JBL recently joined in on the conversation, and he had a pretty strong list of superstars that he thinks makes the most sense to be the final opponent for John Cena. JBL put Brock Lesnar on the list. Brock Lesnar and John Cena have history dating back to the early 2000s. Then they had a big feud in 2012 and feuded again in 2014. So when it comes to John Cena's final opponent being someone that he has a lot of history with, Brock Lesnar definitely sits on that list. JBL's number 2 pick was Roman Reigns, which once again does make sense. Those two have a lot of history with each other, and you can never go wrong putting the two biggest stars against each other. John Cena is the biggest star to come from WWE in the last few decades, and Roman Reigns is the latest global star of this generation. So putting two globally known juggernauts to face each other is a safe move for a final match. But JBL's last pick was The Rock. And honestly, this one makes the most sense and probably has the best story out of the three. First of all, John Cena and The Rock are all tied up when it comes to their previous one-on-one meetings with each other. The Rock won at WrestleMania 28, John Cena won at WrestleMania 29, and then they never faced each other again. No one really won that head-to-head series since they're both tied up with one win apiece. So it may be 12 years since they've gone up against each other, but what if we see the rubber match as John Cena's final match? The winner of John Cena versus The Rock, round 3, wins the head-to-head series, not to mention the great story potential as well. You can argue that The Rock's character ruined John Cena's farewell tour. The tour was supposed to be Cena showing up to all these cities as a babyface and saying a proper goodbye, but due to The Rock's offer to John Cena, Cena lost his ways and turned into this heel monster for a majority of 2025. So maybe John Cena eventually comes to his senses and realizes that he needs to right this wrong before hanging up the boots for good. Cena has to get payback on The Rock for everything The Rock has indirectly caused him to go through during 2025. Everything John Cena experienced, all of his bad behaviors, it could all be tracked back to The Rock being the cause of it. The Rock put John Cena on this destructive path in 2025, so strangely enough, The Rock may actually be the final boss of John Cena's entire career. How fitting would that be for The Rock to be that last opponent for John Cena? Also, not to mention that we're having this discussion right now, long before SummerSlam, so who knows what could be set up there as well. There's lots of fan theories floating around that The Rock could appear at SummerSlam to screw John Cena out of the WWE title, and if anything like that does happen, that really would be seen as major seeds being planted for a singles match between The Rock and John Cena in December 2025. Lots of fans have been extremely critical to this story of John Cena's farewell tour and heel turn, because you introduced it as John Cena selling out to The Rock, but there's no follow-up at all to their partnership. So if they plant more seeds at SummerSlam and have John Cena versus The Rock in December, that could definitely help to patch up all the plot holes that have been in place since March when it comes to the perfectly fitting final opponent for John Cena. The final boss seems like the number one option.
But what are your thoughts on today's stories? Leave your comments below. Don't forget to subscribe with all notifications on, and leave a like if you enjoyed. Thanks for watching, guys.